Okay, so welcome everybody to the third section of this meeting, which is the open mic. We were going to start with Dina Yehuda, but unfortunately she had to leave early. So we're going to start with Isaac Cohen, who said that the poem he's going to read is The Way of Love. Isaac, could you please unmute yourself and read your poem for us?
Yeah, thank you, Judy, and thank you, all my friends in Voices Israel, and all my friends in the world. Isaac Cohen, The Way of Love. How marvelous is the way to your art. The colors integrate from left and right. Composition. Thank you, Isaac Cohen, Israel.
Oh, that was short and sweet. Okay, fine. So next on our list, we have Debbie Golden. But it seems to me that Debbie isn't here either for some reason. Is she? Debbie, are you here? I cannot see her. That's a great pity. She was here earlier. So next we have Pamela Wax, who was one of our honorable mentions and is also listed to read a poem. I think it's called My Grandfather Morris's Index Finger. Yes, Pamela?
Correct. So this second poem had been the original winner of the honorable mention, but it was up for an award elsewhere. So I had to pull it from this particular competition and found out that One Holy 48 was also a contender. So I am reading the other poem called My Grandfather Morris's Index Finger.
Just a second, Pamela. First of all, did it actually win anything in the award it was up for?
It was a finalist, but it didn't win. It'll be published, but it did not win. Thank you for asking.
For anyone who is not a Voices member and doesn't know, the reason that this happened is that people can send in 6 poems to the Reuben Rose, but they can only win once, either a win or an honorable mention. Okay, so as soon as Pamela had won an honorable mention for one poem, even though a second poem also rated an honorable mention, we could only give her one. But when she withdrew the first poem, so then the second one took its place. That's how it happens. Thank you, Pamela. Over to you.
I'd like to make one small correction, which is if you have deep pockets, you can send more than 6 poems to the Reuben Rose competition. You can send 12 poems. We had one fellow send in 18 poems this year. But it is true that you can only get one award. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mark. You're quite right, of course. Pamela.
Thank you. My Grandfather Morris's Index Finger, created to point the way westward toward Europe and a new world beyond that. Made perhaps to fiddle or pluck the likes of Tchaikovsky, to trace the folds of his wife's privates, to teach his sons square knots and bowlines, to string cats' cradles with 10 grandchildren, to wag in the face of injustice and a God who does not exist, aiming instead for Polaris, there, shining there, and the communist compass of his working man's phalanx, made to be worked to the bone. All flesh and knuckle in extremity, the forefinger of a right hand, appended once to a boy chick, bar mitzvah age, were religion not the opium of his people. So meshuggah in his head, this Morris, from fear of Cantonist conscription, he chopped it free from its 4 closest compatriots to escape his sentence of hup servitude to imperial appetite. Self-mutilated to claim manhood, he mustered the other Jew boys to stick fingers in the eyes of the regime. It hurt less than you might think, less than pulling a trigger for the czar. Now, only phantom pain, hearty scraps for the chickens who clucked, but could not refuse its clots and veins.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Before we go on, I'll just have a note. I see that quite a few people, at least 2 or 3 more people, who are listed here to read in the open mic are not in fact with us at the moment. Wendy just came in, so we're down to 1 or 2 who are not with us. But in any case, if anybody here who did not register to read a poem with at the open mic would like to, I think we have time and I can add you on at the end. So if you want to go search on your computer for a poem to read at the end of the list, I will just ask if anybody else wants to read. Okay, but at the moment we go on to Susan Oldsberg, our past president before me, and her poem is called When Planning Goes Awry. Susan.
Thank you, Judy, and it's been a wonderful evening. All your organisation has paid off absolutely triumphantly. Thank you, everyone. So my poem is called When Planning Goes Awry, English pronunciation, not American. We put the dates in our diaries and hope that nothing will go amiss, not knowing what other plans there may be. And sometimes in our carefully structured lives, sometimes, despite all that we strive for, sometimes things do go awry, and then we wonder, and maybe we lose faith in making dates, but planning persists. I have done this throughout the years. Deep in a cupboard, bagged in black plastic, diaries are packed, plain red, black, leather-backed, the precious first, gifted with golden lock, Filofax, sophisticated new version, efficiency on track, smartly bound, now replaced by technology, synchronized, seemingly superbly time patrolled. I'm very much one for planning, but I'm also aware, sometimes through a scare, that things go wrong in life's voyage. I know whatever we may plan to do, sometimes it's not always just so. Sometimes, upsettingly, we write and record dates we may have to delete and abort. Despite that, my diaries are an archive of me, yet always I await what I can't foresee.
Thank you, Susan, lovely. Okay, and next on our list, let me just check that I haven't missed anybody. No, is Donna Behar, one of our valued long-term members again, okay, with
Thank you, Judy. I'll just preface this poem by saying that this poem won second prize in the 2003 Reuben Rose competition. Sneak thief. For years, it does its dirty work unnoticed. Sometimes during those years, husband and daughters wonder why you believe your neighbor is moving the fence, closing in your already enclosing domain. We wonder why you're convinced he's moving it inch by inch at night when you're supposed to be asleep, but instead are watching out the dark window. But never mind, it's just a personality quirk. Never mind, because as always, you trudge through malls on your missions and the supermarket still thrills you. As always, there are coupons that need cutting and brisket is your diner dinner of choice. Then one day, there's a battle in your brain. Still you, but soldiers are down, roads blockaded, rerouted, and redesigned as if by a crazy cartographer. Then one day, you return home to find a house devoid of lifelong pieces of furniture. And in some rooms, the decor has been changed. Then one day, you return home to find no home, just a house, not your house, maybe a hotel. And each day you wake up in a new place, in a different room, in a house you've lived in for 40 years. And each day you don't know what they have planned for you, and don't know who they are. But he makes you comfy, does your laundry, makes your recipe of meatloaf, makes you take your pills, and holds your hand in bed at night. Sometimes you're 18 and he's your boyfriend or husband or daddy. Day after day, you sit in the rose corduroy easy chair he bought to make it easy for your new self, as you sing along with your 40s tunes, waiting to go home to a Brooklyn long gone, a girlhood long gone, and an old phone number that remains in your brain, your magic key to escape from this meandering mindscape, from this unfamiliar, familiar place. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Thank you, Donna. Okay, we're moving on to Julie Mendelssohn, who I'm delighted to see is with us because she is another long-term member who, despite all my cajoling, never quite manages to get to events unless.
And I was just going to say that Judy said, can you send us a poem for the open mic? So I said, well, I haven't written in a long time, so I decided to write about that.
Great.
I think I can share it. Can I share it? Is it okay? Here.
Hold on a second. Let me see. Yes, apparently.
Did it work?
Well, what I see is Julie Mendelssohn has started screen sharing, but I don't see anything at the moment. Usually hold on a second. Usually in order to screen share, we need multiple participants, which we actually have. So you should be able to screen share, but I don't see the actual file.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, 1 minute.
So you had better, I'm viewing your screen, but it's blank. Can anybody else see Julie's, no?
No, it says it's low. Maybe it's just.
Julie, do you have to choose a window?
Usually when you share screen, you have to choose which window you're going to share.
Yeah, no, it says stop share. That's okay. There we go. Wait. That's not it. You don't see it? Okay, no problem.
Yes, now we do. Now we do.
You do see it? Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry for not writing. Do you know how long it's been since I've written a poem? It's not for lack of material. With mass social movements, murders, and rockets, a wedding, an engagement, a bar mitzvah, and a baby. The truth is, words are not enough anymore. They are too flat and confining to contain the colossal quantity of love that can be the only answer to this much good and this much evil.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. I'm so happy to hear one of your poems.
Thank you for encouraging
I'm still trying to get you to come to our Haifa meeting since you live in Zichron, but
there.
would you stop screen sharing so that we can
stop share?
Thank you. That was short and sweet. Okay, now the next person I have listed is Lindsay Soberano, who is from Canada, but I don't see her here. Lindsay, are you here? No, I think we're going to have to count her as one of the people who did not turn up in the end. So we move on to Chaim Abramson, long-term member. Chaim, I have seen you here before. Where are you? Chaim, would you please, great.
Good evening. I share all your sentiments. It's a very, very special evening, very special, great people. And little me, I am adding my 2 cents. Since this was a competition about poetry, I made a poem about poetry. Alas, if we could but pound our voices, mix the word ingredients in a mortar, flowing to the rhythm of pungent images, to seesaw them in the pestle and presto. But no, expressions do not come express. Symbolic scenes flow slowly like a summer spring that fulfill the pull of our soul to feel full with reflection of silhouettes in the here and now. Images match specific voices examples, wrap up sunshine rays of bright ideas as we adopt and adapt words in turns of phrase to breathe in and out the spirit of our thoughts.
Thank you, Hein. Thank you. I love that expressions do not come express. I thought that was very cute. Thank you. Okay, so we move on to Wendy Bloomfield. Wendy.
Yes. I'm sorry my video was flashing, so I turned it off. But I've been watching everything with great interest, and it's a very hard act to follow, to read a poem after all those wonderful winners and honorary mentions. And a thank you to you, Judy. You've done a fantastic job. Judy is also our president. She is our president, but she also seems to handle all technical problems of Facebook and the website, not the Facebook, and the website. And almost, she does the job of about 5 different people. So, and she designs the
very part-time.
Okay, my poem is called A Candle for My Father. I lit a candle for my father last night, for 55 years from his soul's departure, while my daughter was growing in my womb. Did he send a message with her as their souls crossed? I remembered his Sunday morning garden, enriching the soil in his greenhouse, the smell of the ripening tomatoes, the perfect tart, sweet taste of his apples, the sound of lawnmowers on suburban Sundays, his smooth scars made by my brother's cricket games. I remembered the perfume of the lilac bush hiding the brick shelter that protected us through the war. Did he send a message with my daughter as their souls crossed, he departing while she is growing in my womb? She studied botany at university and tends the earth, served in Nachal in a desert farm, teaches nature and environment to gifted children, takes courses in foraging and saving the earth. Together with her family, they dive and trek. I hoped that night that when my soul wanders in my dreams, I would meet my father and tell him that he lives on. I would say that I was sorry that quick decisions were made after my mother's soul departed. Fearing that he would not cope alone, quick decisions were made to part him from his garden and sit out his days in a retirement home. But my soul did not meet him in my dreams that night. Instead, I stood by his grave and lit a candle for my father.
Thank you, Wendy. Lovely poem. Okay, so the last 2 people registered to read are myself and David Silverman. And unless David objects to being last, I'll read it in the order that we have down, which means me first and then David. Is that okay with you, David? I have an advantage over everybody else that I can share screen and know that it will be shared. So I am going to see if I can find, yes. Although, for some strange reason, it seems to be very hard to manage to share this, but okay, we'll do it this way then. It's called Lecture Courses for the Third Age. I can't quite see how to, okay, fine, we'll manage. 3 years worth of avidly followed brain research lectures rot slowly in these notebooks. Facts once fascinating, now forgotten. Article citations fading on the page. I learned from them only how little my brain's memory retains. After reaching an age I refuse to disclose, big brain evolution later reverses. Neurons decline, dendrons disappear, or become entangled, webbed, entwined, their structure mangled. We see the signs. We start to fear loss of control, the brain's dissolution from whole to whole. So these notes just remind me that brains deteriorate. Better hide them away in my library, where they'll lie buried, decay, and disintegrate. Which I do with some regret, saying I will remember where they sleep forever, knowing I will forget. Thank you, people. At least we got to screen share one. David, rounding off our first round.
Acharon Chaviv.
Acharon Chaviv, unless somebody else will jump at the chance when I throw it open to everybody at the end.
So my granddaughter, Charlie Ruby, is turning 8 today. So I'm reading a poem I wrote called Upon Meeting My Granddaughter for the First Time. You lay sleeping on my chest like your mother used to, 3 days old and growing on me already. Your body seems heavier than 7 pounds, 6 ounces, and soon your warmth and the rhythm of your breath have lulled me to a dream. I see you at 6, reciting the 4 questions, at 12, chanting from the Torah. Now you are graduating from college. Now you stand under the chuppah. Now you are a mother yourself. And somehow, I know you are a new kind of Jewish woman, defined not by the value of rubies, not by your husband's praise. No man controls you. No rabbi dictates what you may study, where you may pray. In Jerusalem, you sing the Hallel, and the black hats cover their ears, but your voice is a whirlwind, an earthquake, the pent-up force of 1,000 generations of silenced women. It carries through streets and neighborhoods, study halls and synagogues, impossible to ignore, impossible to stifle. It breaks chains, it penetrates the heart, the soul, it penetrates even the ancient stones. And then a familiar odor wakes me from my reverie. You are no prophet, darling, no crusader, just a baby whose diaper is full. Let's get that taken care of, little Charlie, little love, little girl of my dreams.
Thank you, David. That was lovely. You have to bring that to the global group.
Okay.
David, of course, is a member of the global group. Okay, so that completes the poems that were registered in advance. Is there anybody else who would like to regale us with a poem before we finish? No, nobody. Pesach, you are shaking your head so determinedly, and I was hoping for something humorous from you. No? Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I will say thank you so much to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Everyone.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was
Judy.
great seeing you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing night of poetry.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Fabulous
Thank
poems.
I'd like to remind you before we go that
Yeah.
we're still hoping to have another workshop face-to-face. Sorry, overseas members. We're having some trouble finding a place in Tel Aviv to hold it. So if anybody has any ideas, please do contact me or Ilana, our workshop coordinator, about that. We're thinking about having a mix going forward of Zoom mini workshops and face-to-face workshops so that all our members, including those from overseas, can attend at least some of them. And meanwhile, thank you again to everybody and good night. I'm going to stop recording. And
Thank
I
you,
declare
Judy.
this
Good